In 2022, we celebrate 130 years of HBCU football. On December 27th, 1892, Livingstone and Biddle College, now known as Johnson C. Smith University, played in Salisbury, North Carolina, with Biddle winning 5-0. Over time, HBCU football has evolved. HBCU football's popularity continues to rise. Millions attend games each year and millions more watch on television. The HBCU bands provide some of the top entertainment in the country. Over that time, some of the best players to ever play in the National Football League played at HBCUs. Every Monday through Friday on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast, national radio and television host Donal Ware takes a look at what's happening in HBCU football and talks with coaches, players, administrators, and media about the 2022 season. Make sure you join the conversation on social media by using the hashtag HBCU130. Now, here's your host, Donal Ware.
You've got it locked to the HBCU Football Daily Podcast for today, Thursday, August the 25th. I'm Donal Ware. 2 days away from the start of the HBCU football season. We're very much looking forward to the season, no question about it. Hope you've been enjoying these HBCU Football Daily Podcasts. As you can see him right there, if you're watching on YouTube, for those that are listening, we're joined by a gentleman in his third season as the head football coach at Livingstone, a former All-Pro in the National Football League, played with the Rams, played with the then Redskins, now known as the Washington Commanders. They've got a brand new field there in Salisbury, North Carolina, as we're joined by Sean Gilbert, the head football coach at Livingstone. What's going on, Coach Gilbert?
Now, man, it's a pleasure to be back with you, man.
Absolutely. Great. I'm glad you're back. We did this in person last year.
I only have one thing,
Okay.
I'm looking in the background. I don't see no blue bear stuff. I know we gotta earn our stripes, but that encouragement just lets me know I'm on the right path.
True. You know what? You get me some. Y'all get me some blue bear stuff. We get it up there.
I'm gonna tell my SID.
Very good. All right. So let's just how have things gone to this point for you? Now you're about a little more than a week away from the start of the season, but how are things going so far?
Well, things are steady as they go. Just like in anything with college football, you have to deal with an ebb and flow. And things are going okay. We're excited about our opportunities this year. We have a pretty tough schedule. We're a young football team, bringing in a lot of freshmen. The team is pretty much revamped from last year. And as you know, with the COVID year, that was a hangover year. But right now, going into the second year on the field, third year at Livingstone College, I'm very excited about the opportunities in front of us.
How would you, I don't know, and you played with a lot of young guys last year too. How would you sum up last year?
Well, last year was a learning year. That was a seed planted and it's starting to grow. So, what we're looking forward to is to produce fruit this year. And we'll still be young, like I said, because we're bringing in about 40-something freshmen. So we're excited about the guys we're bringing in and the foundation that we're really laying. And this is actually the first year we're actually laying a pretty good, solid foundation. We've gone out and tried to address the areas in which were concerns for us, which was mainly the offensive line. And that's pretty much everybody's issue every year, trying to get big guys that can move around and create some space for the running backs.
Yeah, so talk about, let's start with the quarterback position. Who is going to be your quarterback? Do you have a quarterback battle currently going on?
We have a couple of quarterbacks, but Lazarus, our returner from last year, will be our starting quarterback, and we have competition behind that with Silas Cruz and Manny. What's Manny's last name?
Manny.
No, I want to say it right. He's got a different last name.
No problem.
That's when coaches.
No.
Macklemore. So we're excited about that, and we're just looking forward. They're competing pretty well against one another, and our goal for those guys is not to be, prolific, but just manage the game. Minimize the mistakes that could be made, understand the coverages that are in front of them, read the box, keep the game simple, Teams are going to flood you, when they see your weakness. That's part of the game. And so we're just trying to teach them how to make decisions under duress and put themselves in a position to be successful in any given play.
Yeah, you mentioned something, not asking them to be prolific, but as a former defensive lineman, you know what a good offensive line looks like. You're looking to build that. Talk about the running back room and how vital that's going to be to the success of the offense overall, and specifically the quarterbacks.
Well, we're bringing back Takori Tutson, who was our leading rusher last year. He's an undersized back, but very powerful, explosive, and he gives us a great chance in the backfield. And then we have some young kids, some freshmen, Davion Smith. So Andre Harris, who's a returner, who's a speed guy and very fast on the perimeter and good out of the backfield. So, just looking for guys to have the basic tools that they can grow from and excel from there. So we know where we are, and we know, the type of offense with the new OC that we're trying to establish. We're just excited to give these guys opportunities to shine.
What is that philosophy offensively? Is it different from last year? And talk about the offensive coordinator and what he brings to the table.
Score in the red zone.
An issue last year, right?
Listen, we had a lot of opportunities. I mean, you score points, it changes the dynamics of the game. And for us, we had opportunities even against good teams. And I mean, go back to the Savannah State game. I was out with COVID that game, so Coach Mike was the head coach, and he was doing a pretty good job. But when you're playing powerful teams, you can't make mistakes. And they made mistakes early in the game, which really could have put us in a better position to contend. But at the end of the day, just managing the game and taking what's in front of you and making the most of that.
Sean Gilbert, in his third season as the head football coach at Livingstone, joins us here on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. What is that offensive line looking like? How are they gelling here in summer camp?
Green, and so every day it's about teaching. I look for us to grow as the season goes. We're not a right now team. And when you don't have enough time really to get out there to get that extra time with guys, because, we have to be mindful of our character. So we just look to grow it every week. The pressure that I put on coaches is a bit extreme because we all want the success today. But I am realistic in understanding that where we are as a program and the steps that we need to take to posture ourselves to be contenders in the next few years.
Even before I get to the defense, you talked about you're building a program. And part of that is marketing the program. Mm-hmm. And you've got the blue field, right? Like that's a great marketing tool. A lot of people have been talking about that. Speak to how that idea came about and actually going in and doing that.
Well, opportunity came through Coach Massey and myself having a conversation and looking at if we had the opportunity to get a field, what would it look like? And the opportunity presented itself. And the president thought, this was a great idea and a great way for us to build not just football, but something for the school period, to energize Livingstone College and just help build and increase enrollment. And for us doing something different, we're the first historically Black college to play. And now we're the first ones with a blue field. And so, we own one, and that's how we operate over here at Livingstone College.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's shift to the defense. How about defensive linemen? How is your defensive line looking for this upcoming season?
Once again, we're young. I do have returners in Malik, a returner Malik Head, who is who is projected in HBCU, one of the top defensive linemen this year. So we expect good things from him. And then we just, we're not big, but, we play fast. So, we finished 16th last year. We look to do better this year. Their motto is 16-1, and they have that work ethic, and that's what they're investing out there on that blue field and trying to compete. We're not concerned about rankings or anything outside of what we do in terms of our work ethic. I tell these guys the chance favors the prepared man, and you're building your own throne. Don't go and chase society's success, but pave your own way. And that's what these young men are doing.
Do you pay? I mean, you're the head coach, obviously, so you're responsible for all the positions. But do you pay, as a former defensive lineman, specific attention to that position?
I think as a head coach, you look at it, but you trust your coaches, and then Coach Mark Williams and Coach Nelson Walker. I think I have two really great coaches, and I trust them to teach their guys according to the style of defense that we're running. I played in a number of defenses, so I know that the styles can change in terms of a 34 front, 4-2-5, a 4-3, so a nickel, a dime. I mean, the multiple fronts that change the way you play the game. So and I allow them to do those things, to be diverse and teach those guys how to play on both sides of the line, meaning the left and the right side. So I'm comfortable with their work, and then when we see things on film, you just chime in if there's something that you think that they can add to the repertoire in terms of the arsenal.
Yeah, what is your philosophy? You're a 4-3 guy, 3-4, 4-2-5. What's your philosophy there?
I mean, I'm a stop the offense guy.
Right.
I mean, like, I'm just not one of these guys who's want to come up and try to act deep. I mean, playing the game and having a lot of good coaches and being a part of a lot of good programs, I'm just not really caught into so much the philosophy is. Your philosophy manifests itself with the characters of your defense. And most people have concepts, but if you don't have athletes to make those concepts real, then it's just that. So you really have to study your players to know how they excel on the field in order to give them an opportunity for your defense to have a signature or a personality. And so overall, we want to be aggressive, but we want to play smart too. And we want to create turnovers, and we want our guys to not think but react to plays.
Sean Gilbert, the head football coach at Livingstone, joining us here on the program. Assess the linebacking core.
Jaden Echols, Terrence McPherson, Will Timms, Greg Champion. I think we have a pretty good linebacking core, solid group of guys. And I think they play fast, they play smart. And I think Echols will do better this year than he did last year as his first year playing. He had over 100 tackles, and he made the all-freshman team. I think he'll do better this year. And so I'm excited. I think the front seven, I think that they're pretty solid.
And the back end, speak to the back end.
The back end is revamped, and we're young, but yet we're still solid. We just, we have guys that can just play some solid defense, and Austin Hickerson and Cullen Guillory. And then we have some other freshmen in that we're looking at. So they don't deserve their names to be heard because I haven't seen the consistency I want from them yet. And so, you don't want to put the rabbit out there too fast in terms of that. But I'm excited. I think we're pretty solid on defense. I know we're solid on defense, and I'm excited to see these guys get out there and turn it up.
I mentioned the Rams. I mentioned the team formerly known as the Redskins. The Panthers was obviously one that I missed, but a very integral part. You were part of that Charlotte community. You're back in a way there in Salisbury, not very far from Charlotte. Why was the Livingstone job the right job for you?
I think in life and timing, there's some things that can be divine. And, that opportunity that was there through Dr. Jenkins and Vice President Dr. Davis and Coach Massey, I think that when we brought our heads together and thought what this institution needed, it was Sean Gilbert. So it worked out for them, it worked out for me, and now we're in the process of building a solid program.
How much did you know about HBCUs coming in before taking this position?
A little bit, not a lot, being honest. And but I think that being here has really empowered me in terms of HBCUs. And I say a lot of times, not that I take anything away from Pitt. I love my alma mater, and I had a great opportunity there, and it's propelled me to have opportunity to play on Sundays, which initially wasn't even really my goal in life. It was just being able to provide for my family and feed my kids. But I've learned a lot in this process, being that if I probably had it to do, I would have really looked harder into that aspect of things. If those around me were exposing me to that, being from up north, you don't hear a whole lot about HBCUs. You hear mostly about predominantly white college institutions. And if you're a top player, you're almost pushed towards, the top 25, schools. So I had opportunities to go visit Clemson. My brother was at Clemson at the time. Gary Cooper, he played wide receiver there. But I didn't have a lot of exposure to the South in terms of knowing how big historically black colleges and universities were. So it's very humbling, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunity that I have to be a part at this point of the HBCU world.
To me, it sounds like, in a way, and even in your area being, I guess, Pennsylvania, correct? That's originally where you're from. So you're right. It's not as many, although in Pennsylvania you had the time Cheney, you got Lincoln, and then you go down, Dell State, Morgan, going down a little bit further south. But does that speak to the fact that we as HBCUs need to do a better job in terms of recruiting top players? You had to be a top player coming out of high school.
I don't want to put the onus on anyone. I think that we as a community have to do a better job of empowering our young black men and women and exposing them to opportunities, regardless of where you are, Alaska or, Louisiana. Just sharing information. There's just so much information that's out here that we don't know that could be our path and our destiny. And for so many of our young black men and women, they're looking for their purpose in life. And I think that overall as a community, we need to do a better job of just educating everyone on the opportunities beyond where they're sitting.
And then, of course, yourself as a former great player. I mean, you look at all the HBCU, or some HBCU coaches, I should say, that are former NFL players, even in your own league with Robert Massey at Winston-Salem State. I mean, what does that mean to be a former player, to help, promote that, Livingstone specifically, but HBCUs as a whole?
I don't do a good enough job in terms of promoting what I previously did in the comparison to, and maybe that's just because I appreciate people seeing me for who I am and not so much the badge that I can carry. But I think that it's, for what it does in terms of these young men and have an opportunity to have dreams or aspirations. And I'm pretty honest with some of them in terms of what they think and they can and can't do and wanting to play on Sunday. And I share with them, football is a tool and it's something you have to use. And we use it to help channel displaced aggression so that these young men can come to balance in terms of what their true potentials are. So I just want to empower young men to understand how to position themselves. And, as my president would say, take their rightful place or command their rightful place in the global society. So for me, that is my give. And I'm grateful for having an opportunity, to share that with these young men.
Last two thoughts. Schedule. First 3 games on the road's tough. You open up against Catawba on September the 3rd. Just your thoughts and that's tough, being away from home those first 3 games.
Yeah, well, we open up with them at home. Then we go to Elizabeth City or to Rocky Mount to play in the Down East Classic, then to VU. So what I'm excited about, we have a gauntlet schedule. It's a very, very, very tough schedule for us as a young team, but our job is to grow every week and see where we land at the end of the day. We're not concerned about anything other than ourselves. And all I focus on is those guys getting prepared and having a chance to compete. So, where it lands and where it ends, we'll see at the end of the season. And we're at the bottom right now, so
yeah.
Only thing we can do is go up.
Yeah. Last thought. What do you remember about those days? You see that W. I got to change it out and change it to the Commanders, but you see that W. Big Washington fan coming up. Remember your
I don't know.
year with.
See, all of that's a little different, right? It's not it's almost like, it's almost like the sexy girl that's lost too much weight.
Okay.
When you look at the Washington Commanders and I get, respect and culture. But it's been ingrained in so many, but it's not just the name, it's probably the energy of what was there before with Mr. Cook and those guys who established a really solid franchise. So, I loved my opportunity when I played there. It was an amazing place to be, and so I'm forever grateful for my opportunities to even have a chance to play in the league and be able to share that with the world.
No question. In the Rams, they were LA Rams when you were there. They went at Super Bowl champs, right? Defending.
Yeah, I needed to come out of retirement just for that. When I was there, we was in the struggle bowl. So, we went to St. Louis, then they hit the greatest show on turf, so they've had some pretty good success. And I'm always happy for the franchises when they can turn around and have a positive. It's really tough in the NFL to win football games. People really don't know how difficult it is when you're putting the best talent on the field against one another. And it's easy to sit on the sideline and be a Monday morning quarterback or criticize, but we live for that. We want that scrutiny because it's our drive and our desire to be the best at what we do. So, great opportunities, man. And, appreciative of it.
Sean Gilbert in his third season as the head football coach at Livingstone, joining us here on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. The Blue Bears opened the season at home on Saturday, September 3rd, in that crosstown rivalry against Catawba. Coach Gilbert, appreciate the time. Good luck to you and the Blue Bears this season.
Hey, who you with? LC.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. You can also listen to the podcast at BOXTOROW.com, iHeartMedia, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to get your HBCU football fix on BOXTOROW with Donal Ware each weekend on the radio station near you, and on SiriusXM on HBCU, Channel 142, and on ESPNU Radio on SiriusXM, Channel 84. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BOXTOROW for the latest in HBCU football, and don't forget to tell a friend.